My Chaos Rising booster box just arrived. Let's open it. I've done my very best to not spoil myself on this set and not looked at any images or any cards. Obviously, I know there's a Greninja on here, and on the ETB that I bought, there's a Pyroar and a Floette on here, but that's about the extent of it. So I'm going into this blind and excited for it. I'm assuming there's going to be, a gold card and a bunch of SIRs and stuff in here, and I'm assuming, again, it's going to be a large set, just like the last several, but I hope I'm pleasantly surprised, and I hope I pull some fire today. Let's crack this open. All right, here we go. Let's get started. Here is the booster box. So we got 36 packs. My absolute favorite way to crack into a new set. I like to buy a booster box and an ETB, which I was able to get from Pokemon Center. Obviously, it's been difficult in the past year and a half to get stuff, but this and Perfect Order, I've been able to get one of each, which I'm really excited about. And if this opening is anything like the Perfect Order opening, I'm going to be super happy. So without further ado, let's just crack it open. We'll start with this whole 1/2 here. Throw that off to the side. And whenever I'm opening a new set, I like to keep one of each pack artwork and put it in my binder in the first 4 slots. I'm always excited when the pack art is nice. Megas like this Pyroar are not my favorite, but it's not a bad pack art. Chaos Rising, decent name. I'm on board. So I'm going to try my best to open at least one of each carefully so that there's no damage on it. At least on the front. The back, less important. Something like this, I would try to avoid because you can see through it, even though I fold it over. But typically with the whole booster box, you end up with at least one nice pack art from each. All right. So we have a Patrat, a Trubbish, Pumpkaboo, Pharaoh Seed, Claydol, Golisopod, an Emma Trainer. First reverse is a Roxy's Performance. Second reverse is a Meowstic. And we have a Hollow Crobat. Okay, nothing too eventful to start. Okay, the next one is the Mega Floette. This one open. That was a good opening. No damage on the top, so I would throw that off to the side on my binder. Okay, we have a Birdmite, an Esper, Cinccino, Chespin, Deoxys as a uncommon. Not a Deoxys that I'm particularly fond of there. Looks really weird. An Avalugg, as is Tranquility. A reverse Donphan. Our first IR, second pack in, and a Pokemon that I liked quite a bit. When OG, we have a Tauros. It was very commanding. I'm going to put this down here. Commanding on this card. But I like that. I don't know any of the values while I'm filming this, but I'll throw up the early values here in the video. I should mention that it's always the case that the early values are inflated. Usually takes about 3 weeks to 4 weeks for them to kind of normalize, and they'll stay that way for a while. Super happy about that. An IR on the second pack, and one that I'm immediately fond of. And then looks like we have some special energies. For the holo, and this one is the Nitro Fire Energy, and that's very similar off the back of Perfect Order. They had some special energies. I think Psychic and Grass and Fighting were the 3. So we'll see what's in here. Fire to start. Okay, Greninja, which I'm assuming is the chase of this pack, or the chase of this set, from what I've... little bits of stuff that got spoiled, and based on all the promo stuff. He's on the ETB, so that usually is the signal that he's important. And I like Greninja. I mained him in Smash for quite a while. All right. I have a Carnivine, and a Reap. Watchog, looking weird. Zubat. This Deoxys is much better than the other one. So it looks like we have a couple of Deoxyses in this set. Deoxy. I wonder if there's like an IR or SIR of Deoxys. There's a Stuntank, Philippe, a reverse Ninetales. I like a good Ninetales card. I mentioned this in the past. Ever since Mega Evolution, I've opened at least something of every set. And the reverse hollows in this generation set, like just no sugarcoating it. I hate how like bland and dull they make the cards look. Like the regular non-reverse hollow cards look nicer than the reverse hollows. I'd say like the dark type is probably the only exception where it looks decent. And here's a reverse hollow Patrat. And okay, so we have one of the other special energies, the bubbly water energy. I think in perfect order, I ended up with like 4 of each special energy, so a play set, which isn't the worst. I expect that's going to happen again. Depends how many hollows are in the set. I am not sure. Maybe I'll throw the stat up here, but let's just crack on and open. I have this booster box energy GB to open. I'm just doing the booster box in this video, but we're starting with a Stunky there, a Goomy, Frogadier, pre-evolution of Greninja, another Patrat, Guntank, a third type of Deoxys, so there's several Deoxys in this set. This one's not bad, it was really just that first one that I didn't like. And Floette, a reverse Wimpod, the reverse hollow Crobat to go with my hollow, and our first double rare, which is the Mega Floette EX. I'm sure we'll see this as a comparison, but the Mega double rares are so much nicer than the non-Mega double rares. You get the nice texture. I actually kind of like this card. It's psychic type, but it's really dark. And I think it's kind of nice. Floette obviously is a fairy type back in the day. You know, I'm kind of disappointed that they got rid of the fairy type cards, but that's not the point of this. Pretty solid looking. Well, that's not my favorite. I just started playing Pokemon ZA, and obviously Floette is an important part of that game, or at least from what I've seen so far. And they're referencing stuff from the game in the set by the look of it. All right, 2 hits in, what was that, 4 packs? Pretty good. Especially because we have an IR, which I believe is 1 in 9. Ultra Rare is 1 in 12, IR is 1 in 9, or the reverse, I always forget. Okay, we start with an Octillery, a Beldum, Fennekin, Kakuna. That's a nice looking card. I like that artwork. We have a Metagross, a Meowstic, Garbodor as an uncommon, a reverse Beldum, a reverse Metang to go with the Beldum, and a hollow Ampharos. You guys have been following me around a lot. Just got a bunch of recent vintage Ampharos cards. And Ampharos is a Pokemon that was like pushed weirdly hard in, you know, Gen 2 and 3 era of Pokemon and cards. That Ampharos is not bad. Kind of like an action-y shot. A little cartoony. I like it. Okay, we have a Skrelp, a Quilladin, Phantom, a Blakeson, a Metagross. There's a Ninetales, and it's the not reverse hollow, and like I mentioned, looks better. Adversity Policy, a reverse Carnivine, a reverse Prism Tower, and our first ultra rare. So we're kind of going through the gambit here. I guess that means SIR is next. All right, we'll swing this guy up. Normally I take the time to read through, not normally, but after the video, I'll take the time to read through cards and see how they would affect the TCG. I play a little bit casually, nothing too intense, but, you know, pretty standard trainer style, ultra rare. The Forest card from Perfect Order ended up being one of my favorite cards that I pulled. This special red card was probably not going to be like that, but still like to see an ultra rare. All right, off to a hot start. Let's see Like I said, if you can pull some heat, like we did in perfect order, where I got the Zygarde and the Mega Starmie, and I had not pulled an SIR or anything of that rarity tier higher in quite some time. So we can get an SIR in here, or whatever I'm assuming the gold card is. That would be great. Gold cards, there might be multiple. We have Fampy and a Flappy, Vulpix, Lemonade. Is it Tauros to go with my IR Tauros? The Ugly Dioxys. And Floette again, Reverse Transformation Tome, Reverse Keldeo, and a Hollow Goodra. Don't mind the Goodra. Not my favorite dragon, but pretty much all dragons are good dragons. Pretty much all dragons are good and interesting, you know. Just as a kid, it was like the most interesting type. That pack's useless. Okay. I have a Marie, Donphan, Limpod, Trubbish, Tauros, another Transformation Zone, a fourth Deoxys, this one in the more like attack form, or defense form, I should say. A reverse Fennekin, a reverse Marie, and the Hollow Delphox. Pretty cool. Fire Hollows look good. Fire and Water are probably my favorite hollow looking cards that they have. Not bad. Okay, another Pyroar pack. I'm not keeping like strict tracks of how many packs I've opened. We'll know once I'm at the halfway point and then keep track a little bit better after that. Okay, a Sliggoo, Emolga, Quillfish, Litleo, a bunch of cards we haven't pulled yet. Another Ninetales, I jinxed it. Airthorn, Deoxys, Reverse Octillery, Reverse Fampy, and here is a double rare, non-mega. So it's exactly what I was talking about before. Or you get this star pattern. Kind of smooth card. Honestly, it's not a bad double rare. The normal type double rares, non-mega ones aren't too bad. The Cinccino EX here. Not a bad double rare. All right, so we've got 2 double rares, an ultra rare, and an IR. It roughly looks like we're a quarter of the way through it. Okay. So we have Fennekin and Pumpkaboo, Carnivine, Zubat, Ferrothorn, Meowstic, Philippe, a reverse Stunky, the reverse Natural Fire Energy. I typically would aim to master set these sets, so having a hollow in reverse is good. And then we have the hollow Xerneas. I feel like the Xerneas has popped up a lot of late. And I said this the last few times. He's just way cooler as a fairy type instead of a psychic type. The pink is just a lot nicer than the purple there, but not a bad card. Kind of firing through these to keep the video short-ish. It'll still be pretty long. But when I'm binding stuff, I take time to kind of enjoy each card a little bit more. So like, for example, this Baltor, like kind of a sneaky, cool little artwork. You know, it's just common. So sometimes it's cool to do that, you know. We call it bulk, but there's tons of good artwork in the common and uncommon cards. You know, as an OG, like vintage guy, I'm not always just looking for IRs. I can still appreciate an artwork even if it has the regular card format. All right. Metang. Weedle. Transformation Tome. Nasuda Woda. Skuntank and a Ferroseed. Okay, and they're IR. I was talking about admiring the non-IRs, and we got an IR. So I'm happy about that. This is the Sliggoo, which is, you know, always interesting when they have like a middle evolution as an IR. We got the Hollow Goodra. I wonder if there's like a SIR Goodra or something like that. This is a nice card though. I like it. The blue, green, purple, like it all goes together really nicely. Especially because they went water and psychic type here, even as a dragon. That's a great looking card. I would expect this is not going to be too expensive of a card. And This is definitely an above average looking IR in my opinion. Pretty cool. Excited for that one. And then at the bottom here, we have a hollow chestnut, which is pretty solid looking. All right, 5 hits. 2 IRs, an ultra rare, and 2 double rares. Okay, next pack up, we have a Ferroseed, a Litleo, Watchog, Octillery, Claydol, a Deoxys, special red card, which is what our ultra rare is, a reverse Deoxys, another reverse Deoxys, so we had just a ton of Deoxys, and then, that's a pretty cool card, a hollow Ho-Oh. Just tons of awesome Ho-Oh cards, since it's, it's been around for quite some time. Some really cool ones. This one's good, like for sure. This is a good looking card. Again, the fire looks good with this hollow pattern. It's hard to get it to show up as nicely on the camera, but cool card, action pose, doing a fire blast or whatever attack that is, and then a fire energy to go with it. Sweet. I like that quite a bit. I say that now, I'm sure we'll pull like 4 or 5 more of them just because, in perfect order, I think there's only like 10-ish hollows. So you end up with a lot of duplicates if you open like 40 to 50 packs. All right, so we have a Golbat, an Esper, Bergmite, Cinccino, Defense Deoxys, Prism Tower, Meowstic, a reverse Skrelp, a reverse Bergmite, and a hollow Trevenant. I don't want to jinx it like I always do, but I don't think we've had any duplicates in the rare spot yet, which is good. Now we're not quite halfway through, so that'll start happening a lot more, I'm sure. All right, Vampy, Beldum, Kakuna, Laffy, Avalugg, Sudowoodo, Delibird. Here's a reverse of this Ho-Oh. Looks worse than the hollow, but still like the card artwork itself. A reverse Kakuna and a Nether double rare. Oh, this one's a good one. The Mega Greninja EX. What I'm assuming is the star of the set. And Greninja is a well above average Pokemon. The Mega looks solid. I don't know if it's just the set or since I'm filming this at night or what, but these Megas just are a little darker than some of the ones I've seen in the past, and I kind of like that. Like, because there's a dark blue into the reddish there. Obviously, there's more darkness on the Greninja itself because he's Mega. Sweet. That's, if I were to guess, one of the better double rares in the set. By looks, by price, by pull. So, super happy about that one. Yeah, we're closing in on the halfway mark. We have a Chespin. Just got knocked over my stack here. Stunky, Boomy. It's kind of cool with the tower in the background. Frogadier, Great Hall Net. I don't think we pulled this Deoxys yet, so there's yet another one. There's so many I don't actually recall, but Golisopod, the reverse Esper, the reverse Cinccino, and okay, I think this is the 3rd special energy, the magnetic steel energy, metal energy. Not bad. We got one of each and one of the reverse hollows. All right. The Dragalge pack. Is that what that is? Yes, the Dragalge. Okay, we have a Froakie, Vulpix, Weedle, Sliggoo, Deoxys, Emma, Garbodor, reverse Skuntank, reverse Avalugg. We're getting some repeats in the reverses, and a repeat. So our first duplicate in the rare slot with this hollow Xerneas. There's 2 more in this half. I guess that's around the time I'm starting to get repeats. Okay, we have a Patrat, a Skrelp, Willadin, Phantom, Tauros, Garbodor, Delibird, Leadall, another SIR. I went so many packs, like somewhere between 100 and 200 to 250 packs without SIRs, and now perfect order get the Mega Starmie, and now get this Mega Floette. And this is a great looking SIR. Again, it's like quite dark, the colors they've chosen, and I'm really liking that in this set here. That is sweet. I'm definitely curious to see what all the SIRs are in this set, but this was one of the 3 Pokemon that was on the booster box artwork, so it must be somewhat relevant. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. All right, and to finish off that one, we have a Holo Keldeo. Okay, last pack in this half, and we've done super well for ourselves so far. I bought this booster box from Pokemon Center, which means I got it for, I don't want to say a good price, but a reasonable price. I think I've said this in a few videos, but you know, back in the like mid 2010s to even the late 2010s, Pokemon Center was considered like one of the most overpriced ways to get cards. And now they're like a saving grace, which is kind of funny. Still pretty expensive. I think it was like, in Canadian, it was like $270 or $280 after tax and shipping for the booster box and ETB. So pulling SIRs and stuff like that is very helpful. Obviously, I'm not expecting to get good things out of this every time. I'm doing this for the love of the game, the love of pulling. Otherwise, I just buy singles and recommend that most of the time. But if I keep pulling SIRs, then I'm going to have to keep buying packs. Okay, reverse Gumi, reverse Vulpix, and another double rare, a Beedrill EX, one of the OGs. I don't mind that. I like Beedrill. Obviously, I'm a nostalgia-driven collector in a lot of ways, so getting an OG Pokemon, even as this Star Pattern double rare, I'm on board with. I have a space in my row up here, but condense this down a little. Okay, we are officially at the halfway mark. So what I'm going to do is pull this out and half this as well. Okay. Another Greninja patch. If I were to guess, and you guys already know, the Greninja is probably the gold card. I think I heard someone say that. Again, I purposely did my best to not look at cards because it kind of kills, not that it does a ton, but it kills a little bit of the enjoyment of opening. And yeah, it just feels more old school, you know, being surprised like you were when you were a kid opening packs. Like I had no idea that Floette was in there. There was an SIR. Good looking one. Excited about that. Okay, reverse Chespin, reverse Litleo, and a Holo Bubbly. So that's the second one of those. I haven't really been careful opening these packs and checking which of the pack arts have fulfilled, but just by typical odds, usually there's 4 good ones, one of each, so not too worried. Okay, we have a Skrelp, a Gumi. I don't want to start a new stack before this one gets too tall. Donphan, Phantom. Remember the intensity of going to see the Pokemon movie and seeing Donphan in it? Before, you know, a lot of the Gen 2 stuff was out in English. Good childhood memory for sure. And Floette, Tauros, Deoxys, reverse Zubat, reverse Beedrill, and oof, scared me for a sec with another SIR, but we got what I'm gonna guess is probably the coolest ultra rare, the Mega Greninja EX. Really dark and really digging it. They've made such major improvements on the ultra rares since, I'd say, Journey Together and onwards. It improved so much because the ultra rares in early Scarlet and Violet were like just god awful. And having like just more action, more happening here. It's like this, the Greninja with like the shadow Greninja in it. Quite cool. This is honestly a really good looking ultra rare, I'd go as far as to say. Dang, we are hitting. We are hitting. I always go through at the end and dive into all the hits again. So if you want to look closer, you can wait until then. We got a Mareep and a Braixen, Donphan, Wimpod, Roxy's Performance, a Deoxys, Avalugg, a Reverse Trevenant, Reverse Proki, and then another Hollow Nitro Fire. Okay, next pack. This stack of packs building up over there. Okay, we have a Patrat, Bergmite, Metang, Golbat, another Ninetales, and Golisopod, Roxy's Performance, Reverse Felipe, another IR, Chespin. There's some good IRs in this set. I dig this one too. Chespin, starter Pokemon. Cool forest scene here. I'm really hitting in this box again. I've saved up all my luck for these sets that are not flying off the shelf like Destined Rivals and stuff was, which I've got very little product of. And I don't mind at all. Either like, I think anyone who's a true collector still appreciate the set like this. Same perfect order. There's still tons of good cards in there. Obviously, the Meowth from perfect order is popping off right now. All right, we have a Trubbish and a Fennekin, Pumpkaboo, Carnivine, as a Tranquility, right from the game, Skuntank, Deoxys, a Remoraid, a Reverse Metal Energy, and another Hollow Delphox. Okay, there we go. Chespin, Esper, Mareep, Cinccino, Deoxys, as again, Skuntank, got a ton of those, Pumpkaboo, Deoxys, and another Hollow Chestnut. I doubt there's probably any new hollows, or at most one or two, but at this point we're just hoping for hits. The gold card would be the Tap on top. We've got 3 IRs so far, which is technically right on the pull rate, I believe, 1 in 12, or unless it's the 1 in, yeah. So it should be 1 in 9, I believe, and ultra rare is 1 in 12. So maybe we could sneak out one more IR. That would be awesome. All right, we have a Zubat, Aeroseed, Litleo, Watchog, and Floette, Metagross, Sandtail, another Metagross, another special red card, and the double rare Mega Dragalge EX. Again, a pretty solid looking double rare. This one's less dark and more flamboyant, but I'd say in a good way. With Dragalge is still pretty dark, but with the dragon type and the pink effect, pretty sweet. So now we have 3 of the Mega double rares and 2 of the regular double rares. Double rares are usually roughly 1 in 5, I believe. I bet that's the same for this set. Been that way for quite a while. Okay. We're almost at the 3/4 mark here. We have Stunky, Fennekin, a Quilladin. I don't think we pulled that one yet. Frogadier, Metagross, Deoxys, Diversity Policy, the reverse Sliggoo to go with our IR, a reverse Delphox, and another ultra rare, the Tool Scrapper. We are hitting good. What was that? 4 ultra rares? 3 or 4? You know what? I'm going to quickly organize these, and then so we have an ultra rare here, ultra rare here. So that's the 3rd ultra rare. We've got 3 IRs, an SIR, and 5 double rares, and 5 double rares. So the three ultra rares here, it's right on the hit mark. Let's take a quick look at this Tool Scrapper. Pretty boring, honestly, especially when you compare it to the Mega Greninja, but, you know, classic trainer, ultra rare. We'll throw it up here. Okay. In this second half, we are now halfway through. This would be the halfway through mark. So 3/4 of the way through is how fractions work, I guess. Put my math degree to good work. All right, an auxiliary, Vampy, Beldum, Luna, Adversity Policy, Tauros, Transformation Tome, Reverse Trubbish, Reverse Quillfish, and a Hollow Ampharos, which is our second one. Yeah, there should be 9 packs left here. Yep, 9 packs. And we're doing the Dragalge. You can see, well, I know, yeah, you can see right there. You know, Pokemon is ranking packs off the assembly lines at this point, and you get a ton of like little weird print errors. Even in the cards themselves, I know people, I'm sure it's happening with this set, just like in the past sets. Lots of people showing their factory print errors and stuff. Sometimes they're interesting, and sometimes it's annoying. Like pull something rare, and it has like a crease from like a roller or something in it. That sucks for sure. All right, Trubbish, Litleo, Wimpod, Zubat, Transformation Tome, Ferrothorn, Claydol, Reverse Flaffy, Reverse Az, and another double rare, Gourgeist EX. I think we're doing pretty well on the pull rate for double rares. What is this? 7? 6. 6 double rares now. So 1 more is roughly the expected pull rate. Gourgeist, you know, nothing too intense here. Yeah, not too much to say about that one. Another star pattern, double rare. All right. I have a Sliggoo, Quillfish, Remoraid, Emolga, Meowstic, Claydol, Deoxys, Reverse Ferrothorn, Reverse Golbat. I thought that was maybe something. And the Hollow Goodra. Next pack, Pumpkaboo, Weedle, Braixen, Froakie, Deoxys, Delibird, Felipe, or Felipe, I'm not sure. Reverse, Great Hallnet, and I've just spoiled this. I got an IR. Ooh, Frogadier. There's a hollow metal energy in there. Now that is right up my alley for IRs. I've liked every single one I've pulled so far. This one's probably my favorite so far. Love the water types. Water type Pokemon cards. This one's just super vibrant with all the blues, blue being my favorite color. Great looking card. Yeah, really good. It's 4 IRs, which is exceeding the pull rates. And by succeeding, I mean right on it. Okay, run out of packs, but we've literally done super well. So at this point, I'm not expecting anything else. I think we're basically really good for pull rates. I mean, anytime you get an SIR, you are exceeding pull rates for a single booster box. Obviously, you have to spread that across all your openings, but I've now got 2 SIRs and 2 booster boxes, so really good. With all that really pull rate action for the previous while. So yeah, I'm sure it's roughly balanced out at this point. And we got an Avalugg and a Sliggoo. Always like a Sliggoo. Here's a Frogadier to go with my IR Frogadier. Another reverse is a Phantom and another hollow. Okay. We have 5 packs left. One more legitimate hit in here would be awesome. Still fingers crossed for one of the gold cards, because those are always just really expensive. Not that they're particularly nice. Obviously, they're slightly nicer in person than they are like in pictures and stuff, but I don't think anything should have that kind of pull rarity and be as expensive as they get. It's kind of ridiculous in the modern era, and I really just don't think they are that great looking. Like this Floette, I'm sure is better looking than the gold card, in my opinion. I know some people really like them, but secretly I think that is just because they're expensive and rare. This is coming from someone who has the original, what is it? Yeah, Zekrom gold card. I'd have to double check what it is. I'm drawing a blank right now, but maybe I'll throw it up in the video here. Okay, Garbodor. And the first reverse is a Breaks In, Adversity Policy, and another Xerneas. Okay, 4 packs to go. I haven't seen any Pyroars of any kind, hollow rare or anything. I'm sure there's several in here. Okay, Golbat, Chespin, Esper, Marik, Delibird, Deoxys, so many of those. Emma, reverse Sudowoodo, reverse Gourgeist, and I'm seeing something behind it. Let's just call it. We've got the double rare Mega Pyroar EX. Lots of Mega double rares, which I am thrilled about because those are so much nicer. This one's good, yeah. It's like very kind of fluorescent look to his mane. Pretty intense. And I think we're now right on the expected hit rate for double rares. And 5 of them were megas. 4 of them were megas. I'll have to see what the breakdown of the non-mega to mega double rares are in the set, but always happier when I pull the mega ones because they're just nicer. Okay, third last pack. Eldum, Laffy, Octillery, Katsuna, Deoxys, Prism Tower, Avalugg. Stack's getting tall over here. Wimpod reverse Bubbly, and just the Nitro Fire. So double energy pack there. 2 packs to go, and obviously we pulled a ton of great stuff, but you always like to go out on a bang. So get something in the last couple here would be awesome. Even if it's another double rare, I don't mind. I would love, obviously, the gold card, but an IR would be sweet. Cinccino, Spenky, Fennekin, Quilladin, Garbodor, Great Hall, that Deoxys, another Watchog, so many of those. Reverse Deoxys, and we got another hit. It's an ultra rare. Ultra rare Cobalion EX. Now this is more like the early era Scarlet and Violet ultra rares, where it's, dare I say, boring. I do like the pose, and like the background is like almost like rays of, yeah, like rays shining down on them. She's like super proud looking, but it's kind of a boring card. I do like the colors, but this is like honestly similar tier to the trainer cards for me, and like way below the Mega Greninja. We will rank them after though. Okay, final pack. I mean, we got a hit on the second last pack. No sense getting greedy. I'm like happy about all these pulls, getting SIR, hit the pull rate on every single type of card, basically. So let's just see what we get. We got a Quillfish, a Litleo, Baltoy, Roki, Meowstic, Great Hallnet, a Deoxys, Reverse Transformation Tome, Reverse Mareep, and another Hollow Delphox. All right, that's all the packs. As proof, here's an empty box. Very exciting. Let's go through all these, starting with the double rares. So I got 7 of them, which is exactly on hit rate. It's 35 instead of 36, but basically right on hit rate. And like I said, there was 4 of the megas and 3 of the starry ones. I like Beedrill. I'm not a huge fan of like the 3D render Pokemon that they do, which is really all of these here. But, you know, those cards are still usually like 50 cents to $1-ish. So now I don't have to buy them. And, you know, buying those kinds of cards are expensive online. So I have to try and find them in card shows. And a lot of times people don't bring those kinds of cards. And then we got 4 mega double rares. And I like pretty much all of these. Pyroar looks cool, like very fluorescent, especially because they're doing this blue flame effect with the fire types. Dragalge. It's not a Pokemon I paid a lot of attention to. And I think he kind of gets lost in the sauce, so to speak, here, but not bad. Digging the Floette, especially because I got the SIR, you know, it kind of boosts the energy for the card. And then obviously Mega Greninja. That's the double rare, I'm assuming, and it's definitely my double rare, my favorite of the 4. Very cool. I know ultra rares are technically rarer than IRs, but they're usually uglier. So we'll talk about them. Mega Greninja, great looking ultra rare. Super thrilled to get that one. Looks awesome. Then we have Cobalion, the Tool Scrapper, and the special red card. You know, just good cards for collections. Nothing super special there. But the Mega Greninja here, awesome. And then we have 4 IRs. That's my favorite one on the top right here, the Frogadier. Just the blues with like some of the purple, the sky, green in the background. Just like really loving the color palette here. The aesthetic. Like the Pokemon evolution chain. So really cool. Chespin, basically the exact opposite, like more muted with the greens. I'm really digging it as well. Looks great. You know, he's being cheeky, walking along the log with his stick. Sliggoo, more similar to the Chespin, but the purples mixed in, looks really awesome. And then kind of just like what I call a more classically styled card with this Tauros, in which I have like kind of a soft spot for. So feels like a good mix of IRs that I got here. Really happy about that. And then the Piece de la Resistance, the Mega Floette SIR, which obviously is a great pull. Anytime you get an SIR, it's a good day. And I like this one. You know, there's nothing worse than pulling a trainer SIR. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's still nice. And I'm speaking not from experience. I've never pulled the trainer SIR. But getting a Pokemon is almost always nicer than getting a trainer. So, yeah, that's awesome. All right, there you have it. That is my Chaos Rising booster box opening. Hope you enjoyed it. Lots of stuff. What was your favorite card that I pulled? Or even better, what is your favorite card of the set? Because I'm about to go look through and fill out my checklist of cards and see where I'm sitting for the collection. Really happy with the pulls I got and hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.